So today I welcome Professor Anusua Rare from BITS Pilani Institute. It's one of the very premier institutes in India, and she is also cross-appointed assistant professor in Hiroshima University in Japan. So Professor Anusua, she is a well-known expert in geotechnical engineering. Her research interest includes reliability application in geotechnical engineering, sensitivity analysis, earth retaining structures, utilization of waste materials, including biochar for ground improvement, and stabilization of expensive clays. Professor Anusua have won several awards, including earlier Career Research Award from Department of Science Technology India. She has been also awarded Outstanding Reviewer from ASC International Journal of Geomechanics, and she has won several national merit scholarships at different levels in master's and bachelor and PhD. So it's a great honor to welcome Professor Anusua to deliver her lecture on expensive soil treated with fiber on this Belt and Road series. So thank you very much, and we welcome Professor Anusua for sharing her research experience. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ankit. This is a wonderful introduction, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak on my research work in this Belt and Road webinar series on geotechnics, energy, and environment. It has been a wonderful series of seminars. So before I move into my topic, as Dr. Ankit mentioned, I presently am associated as an assistant professor in BITS Pilani. So BITS is Pilla Institute of Technology and Science, and it is one of the premier institutes of India, and it has been established as way back in 1964. At present, it has 4 campuses, one being in Dubai and the other 3 campuses in India, in Hyderabad, Pilani, and Goa. I belong to the Hyderabad campus. This is my research group, my research scholars, and today I'm going to speak about the work done by my research scholar, Syed Mazhar. And these are my research collaborators, and so I'll directly move into the presentation. So today I will be speaking on alkali activated binder, how we have used alkali activated binder and fiber to stabilize the soft soil, that is the expansive soil. So as we all know, the dual nature of the expansive soil exhibits low volumetric stability upon moisture imbalance, leading to extensive destruction of the structures. Now, periodic variability in the swell shrinkage activity is predominantly constituted of the montmorillonite and the smectite flow, which has a high affinity towards water. And the leading worldwide issue with expansive soil is basically desiccation cracking, which usually alters the long-term sealing effects, and it causes damages on various civil engineering structures. Now, the annual loss as estimated is around 500 million euros in UK and around $9,000 million in the US, which arises due to the failure of construction in the expansive soil. Now, soil stabilization of this expansive soil, usage of chemical binders, traditional cementitious chemical binders like cement, lime, etc., efficiently helps to reduce the swelling potential of these soils. However, the production of cement and lime contributes to almost 7 to 8% production of carbon dioxide across the globe annually. Now, globally, demand for the Portland cement-based binders can reach almost 200% if we count from 2010 to 2050. So in order to maintain a sustainable environment, it is always necessary to reduce the production of these greenhouse gases, to reduce the production of carbon dioxide and these conventional cement binders, and use alternative environmental friendly material for stabilization of these expansive soils. So what we have done in this study? So we have proposed a novel additive alkali activated binder, which is a low carbon emission alkaline agent, and it has got a long chain polymeric sodium aluminum silicate compound when we activate the low calcium precursors or the fly ash or slag. Now, this alkali activated binder eliminates the demand for use of traditional binders like cement. At the same time, it saves the cost for dumping. Also, it provides excellent durability with a low carbon footprint. Now, AB, or alkali activated binder as we call it, is prepared by blending aluminosilicate precursors. That is, we have used fly ash and slag in certain ratios with an alkaline solution, which consists of sodium silicate and sodium hydroxide. We have chosen 3 water to solids ratio, which is 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5. If we use a water to solids ratio, which is less than 0.5, then workability becomes an issue. And if we increase it beyond 0.5, in that case, it becomes too much liquid. Also, this fly ash and slag which we are using, we generally get it from the thermal power plants. So in that way, we are utilizing the waste materials, which can lead to a sustainable and environment-friendly solution. I'll go to the preparation of AB. So this is a schematic process by which we prepare AB. Now, what we have taken oven-dried expansive soil. We have mixed it uniformly with around 5% of AB at different proportions of fly ash and slag content. Now, different proportions in the sense we have used 100% fly ash, 0% slag, then 90-10, 80-20. We have used till 60-40. Now, 5% of AB is basically selected to remove the residual alkali from the fiber surface. And then we have kept drying it for 7 days under standard temperature. Now, this optimum binder content in the soil is chosen based on its workability, the alkaline reactivity, the binding efficiency with low emission of greenhouse gases. Then, after mixing of AB, we have covered it with jute bags for next 3 days for around 72 hours in room temperature, so that the excess heat which is arising due to the geopolymerization reaction, it evolves out. After mixing the fly ash after mixing the AB with the soil, we have gone for different characterization tests. I will present some results of the characterization tests. I'll start with the microstructural characterization. Now, these are the raw materials which we have used. This is black cotton soil, and this is fly ash and slag, and these are some SEM images of the raw materials which have been used in the study. And these are the geotechnical properties of the raw materials, that is our black cotton soil, fly ash, and slag. We have found out all the basic geotechnical properties, including the swelling, the plasticity limits, the compaction characteristics, the strength characteristics, and also the different elemental compositions of the raw materials. Well, some of these studies can be found in one of our papers, which was published recently in Geotechnical and Geological Engineering. This is the particle size distribution of our raw materials, and this is fly ash, raw BCS, and the slag. And we have used 5% of AB. Rather, we have tested with from 2 to 10% of AB, and then found out that 5% AB is the optimum content. So we have presented here the graph of 5% of AB. We have also used the fibers. Rather, we have used 4 types of fibers for comparison: 2 natural fibers and 2 synthetic or artificial fibers. The 2 types of synthetic fibers which we have used are polypropylene and glass fibers, and the 2 types of natural fibers which we have used are the coir and the hemp fibers. Now, a constant length of around 12 mm is maintained for the artificial fibers, while that of 25 mm is maintained for the natural fibers. Now, these values are chosen from the past literature. It was observed that the use of this fiber lengths, when we reduce the fiber lengths less than 10 millimeter and greater than 40 mm, it demonstrated actually low contact area, and it was difficult to achieve higher pull-out intensity during the loading. Well, all these details can be found from one of our papers, which was published in International Journal of Geomechanics. These are the different properties of fibers, which some of the properties we have found from the manufacturer and some of the properties we have tested in our lab. So these are the different properties of fibers which we have found. PF is the polypropylene fiber, GF is the glass fiber. These two are the artificial fibers. And then we have the CF and HF as the coir and the hemp fibers. All right. Now, since the natural fibers have always the problem of biodegradability, so the cellulose and hemicellulose rich natural fibers were chemically treated with 10 molar sodium hydroxide solution prior to use. Initially, these fibers were immersed in water for 7 days. Then it was again dried for 7 days at room temperature, so that we have ensured that the waxy substances and natural oil are all extracted. Then these dried fibers are soaked in sodium hydroxide solution for 7 days. The soaked fibers are then removed from the sodium hydroxide solution, washed with water properly to remove the residual alkali from the fiber surfaces. And then it is again kept for drying for 7 days at standard temperature. Now, this treatment actually helped us to improve the service and the durability of the fibers. Now, the primary reason for selecting these natural fibers in this AB mixed soil are negligible environmental impact, sustainability. These fibers are locally available, and also obviously the cost effectiveness. We come to the, all right. So again, the details of this fiber treatment can be found in one of our recent published papers. We come to the different microstructural characteristics of the fibers. So this is a basic stereo microscopic analysis of the untreated black cotton soil and then the fiber reinforced AAB treated black cotton soil. This surface characteristics are being studied by using a stereo Olympus microscope setup. And as you can see, the surface images basically reveal a light reddish yellow color. This indicates the presence of iron and the illite and smectite groups, these parts. So you can see the pore spaces, the surface cracks are visible. Then a thin layer of hardened AAB paste also can be observed around the clay particles. So you can see the thin layer of hardened AAB paste around the clay and the fibers. So this is done with the coir fibers. This image is for coir fibers, and you can see the coir fibers and how the AAB paste is adhered to the surface of the coir fibers. Right. So I'll just give glimpses of the different microstructural studies which we have performed. This is the XRD pattern for the untreated and the AAB fiber treated soil. So as we know that XRD basically is used to determine the mineralogical composition of the soil. So this XRD is obtained in the powdered form, and on the powdered samples from 0 to 80 degree at 2 seconds per step. We have used a CUK alpha rays with 40 milliamperes at 40 kilovolts. You can see that the dominant clay mineral present here is montmorillonite in the untreated soil, and the addition of this fly ash or a slag basically helps to alter the diffraction pattern. And as we can see, the flatter surfaces of the diffractogram, it is indicating the amorphous phases in the fiber AAB matrix. Coming to the FTIR spectroscopy, that is the Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy. It is used to characterize the various molecular bonds. We have used a JASCO FTIR setup, and we have used the potassium bromide palette arrangement. The transmittance spectral range was maintained from 4,000 to around 500 per centimeter for all the samples. And after AAB treatment, as we can see that there is a slight reduction in the intensity of the chemical bonds corresponding to montmorillonite. We come to the thermogravimetric analysis and the derivative thermogravimetric curve. And as we can see that the first major loss happened at around 110 degrees Celsius and also at around 300 degrees Celsius from the peaks of the TGA curves. Now, comparing the results, if we compare it with the parent fibers, now the position of the bands, basically the position of the bands for both the treated fibers, I have presented for hemp and coir over here. for both the treated fibers, it has changed, and you can see that it has shifted towards the right. It has shifted towards, you can see the blue graph, it has shifted towards the right, and the TGA curves beyond 600 degrees Celsius, it basically shows minimal losses. We have also done the XPS surface elemental characteristic curves. There is the X-ray photoelectron curves, spectroscopy curves, and which actually helps us to give the surface elemental composition. And you can see the untreated and the untreated. So UCF is the untreated coir fiber and TCF is the treated coir fiber. So the untreated and the fiber reinforced AAB soil samples were molded into pallets, and then they were oven dried before the samples were analyzed. So the untreated samples basically exhibits the major elemental peaks of silica, as you can see over here. It exhibits the major elemental peaks of silica and oxygen. And these peaks of these elements basically gets reduced when we treat it with fly ash or slag based alkali activated binders. We come to the scanning electron microscope studies, which is used for characterizing the soil surface morphology. We have used a field electron microscope. And when the soil is basically treated with AAB, you can see needle-shaped crystals with long, slender, parallel prismatic texture you can see. So you can see these things. So this is the fly ash, and you can see the dense clay over here, and then the cementitious gel can be observed, and we have also observed the thread-like coir fiber with pockets of clay as well. So from this, these are the different microstructural analysis which we have carried out, and the details can be found in again one of our journal papers in International Journal of Geotechnical Engineering. Well, this is the basic geotechnical properties of AAB treated soil. As you can see, we have varied the fly ash and slag. F100 means 100% fly ash, S0 is 0% slag. So B is black cotton soil, A is alkali activated binder, 5 denotes 5% alkali activated binder. So we have maintained 5% alkali activated binder, but we have varied fly ash and slag in the ratio 100:0, 90:10, 80:20, 70:30, and 60:40. And we have actually found out all the different characteristics, all the different geotechnical characteristics, including the compaction, the plasticity, the swelling, the consolidation properties. We'll go to the tests directly. We have performed the UCS, that is the unconfined compressive strength tests on samples of 38/76 mm at a strain rate of around 1.25 mm per second. And we can see that if you see the results, we can see from the results that inclusion of alkali activated binder and fiber has significantly, it has affected the rate of UCS, the strength gain. Now, we can see that as the slag and this fiber content increases in the alkaline soil, the interlocking density and the stiffness of resistance is greatly enhanced. And 60% fly ash with 40% slag, it has the highest compressive shear strength. Now, the substantial variations in this shear strength definitely depend upon fiber roughness, the confinement bonding, the contact area, the interfacial friction. However, we have found that generally an inclusion of 0.8% of fiber leads to the highest strength, as well as it enhances the workability. If we go beyond that, the workability is drastically reduced. We go to the ITS, or the indirect tensile strength. It was carried out in a Marshall stability apparatus by attaching a loading strip of around 12.5 mm on the load frame, and we have also used a constant strain rate of around 50.5 mm per minute. Now, when the fiber dosage is constant, keeping a constant fiber dosage, say for example 0.2 or 0.4, it can be seen that the tensile strength of AAB BCS is almost coming out to be same. So it is coming out almost to be same regardless of whatever type of fiber we are using or whatever fly ash or slag proportions we are using. Now the fibers are basically capable of sharing some stiffness in the soil matrix, and therefore what is happening, it is transforming from the brittle to the ductile nature. Again, this has been published in one of our earlier papers. We come to the consolidation properties of BCS, which is an important property for the expansive soils. And as you can see, we have performed a series of oedometer test results, and we have presented the void ratio versus effective stress graph. Now, the compressibility behavior of this AB treated soil reduces significantly with an increase in the slag content. Now, adding this slag in this soil alkaline mixture, it basically enhances the rate of geopolymerization in the soil, and what happens, it leads to a rapid dissolution of the precursor. So you can see that here we have plotted the E-log P curve of one cycle, and also we have plotted the heave. We have plotted the variations of heave with time for different fly ash slag ratios. Well, this is again presented in one of our recently published papers. You can go through the papers for more information. This is the continuation of this oedometer test results, and this is the swell potential and the swelling pressure. We can see here that the 60:40 ratio, that is the 60 fly ash is to 40 slag ratio, gives us the maximum results. So we have used a swell pressure meter apparatus for conducting this test, and this is the swelling pressure and this is the swell potential. All right. We have also carried out soaked California bearing ratio test, and as we know that CBR indirectly it gives a clue for the long-term efficiency and long-term working condition of the material. Now, during the period of soaking, we soaked it for 4 days as we do in soaked California bearing ratio test. During the period of soaking, the slag basically can produce the silicate hydrates. So it leads to less attraction of moisture in the soil. Now, this combined addition of fly ash with slag in this AAB soil, it helps to increase the strength and stiffness. Basically, it forms a bridge when this geopolymerization reaction is taking place. So as you can see, we have varied the dosage of fiber from 0%, that is we have used only the AAB, and then we have increased it till 0.8%. And as I told you that as I've already mentioned, that using a fiber beyond 0.8% generally reduces the workability. Again, this is a recently published paper, and this is basically in press. So I have not given the DOI number. So this is again, you can go through this paper to get more details on this performance evolution of all the 4 types of fibers. All right, we come to the last part of the study, which is the load deflection behavior of the untreated and the fiber reinforced AB treated soil. So the load deflection curves, as you can see from this from the load deflection curves, that it reflects an apparent correlation of the soil flexural behavior with the different fiber dosages, and the combined fiber AB basically aids to improve the efficiency of the pulling stress and stiffness, because it restricts the relative movements of the fibers in the soil, and it helps to transfer the load to the fiber matrix as well. So you can see here, this is the load versus deflection curve, and it reaches a peak, and then it again drops, and then we have also found out the variation of the flexural strength with the soil at varying percentages of the fiber content. And this was published in one of the special issues of Journal of Geosynthetics and Ground Engineering. Well, coming to the conclusions, although we have presented here some of the results, apart from this, we have also studied the freeze-thaw effect of this proposed binder along with fibers. there are certain studies done on the variability aspects of these fibers, because natural fibers and soil, as we know, that these are all variable in nature, and we can obtain a range of properties. So we have also performed some variability studies, we have performed some reliability analysis, and we have proposed some empirical equations. If you go through our papers, those papers will give the details of these reliability studies which are available. So in the we can say in conclusion that, of course, utilization of chemical binders in any engineering projects, of course, it leads to the production of greenhouse gases. However, what happens when we are using AAB? We are using the fly ash and slag, which are directly available industrial wastes, and we can easily obtain them free of cost or at minimum cost. And it also reduces the carbon dioxide emissions, which was there if you would have used the Portland cement. So not only it helps in utilizing the industrial waste, which otherwise would have been dumped somewhere, it also helps in reducing the carbon dioxide emissions. We have seen from our study that the volumetric stability of this AAB soils treated with the fibers, it was significantly regulated because the pozzolanic compounds are being dissolved, and there was rapid formation of the cementitious products. We have seen how the strength, the UCS of the fibers are getting increased. In general, by comparing the two types of natural and artificial fibers, polypropylene fiber gave better results compared to glass fibers, and at the same time, the hemp fibers gave better results compared to the coir fibers. Also, we have seen that there was a formation of some groove-like, network-like surfaces in both all the fiber mixtures, and also the addition of the fiber and the aluminosilicate precursor-based AB. We have seen that the optimum combination is 60% fly ash and 40% slag at an and AB in the as 5%. I mean, addition of AB in the range of 5%, and we can use 0.8% of fiber. So, in conclusion, I can see that this proposed fly ash based or fly ash or slag based alkali activated binder can be utilized practically and effectively, and it can give a way forward of using the traditional based binders, and this method is actually sustainable, and it is a more eco-friendly solution. So apart from this, I also my research also circumference on utilization of construction and demolition waste. I also work on agro-based stabilization of soft soil, and then natural fibers, slope stability with treated natural fibers, biochar amendment, and reliability applications in geotechnical engineering. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, we can discuss.
Thank you very much, Professor Anuswa. It's a very interesting presentation. We have, I think, a couple of discussion. I think Ms. Amruta Joshi. I mean, can you?
Okay.
So, first question is, what is the reference code of method for obtaining flexural strength?
Yes. So, for obtaining flexural strength, we have. I exactly do not remember the code name. But if you refer to my paper, or if you just write or drop a mail to me, maybe I can look back into the code name and get back to you. I do not remember the exact name of the code. So ITS is basically indirect tensile strength. So ratio, in the sense we have presented the graph in the form of a ratio. Indirect tensile strength we have calculated using a Marshall stability apparatus. So if you see the picture, I do not think we have included the Marshall stability apparatus picture. So you can see here that these are the samples which we have prepared, and this is after testing. And ITS ratio is basically when we are testing the indirect tensile strength without the fiber, and when we are testing it with the help of the fibers. So the ratio of that is your ITS ratio.
Okay, Professor Nuswa, I just have one point. I want to understand what are major challenges still you think if we apply these techniques in the field application?
So that's a very, very nice question, actually. The major challenge which can be faced is the uh, evolution of heat. So when we actually go for mixing the fly ash and slag with this activator solution, there is quite a large amount of heat which is evolved. So that is why what we have done when we have mixed this fly ash and fly ash slag with this alkali activator solution, we have kept wet jute bags so that the geopolymerization reaction can be over, and the heat of hydration, the heat of geopolymerization reaction can dissipate. So that can be one of the major challenges in the field. So we are in the process of implementing this entire process in the field. So I have not presented here the results, but we are already in the process of implementing this entire process in the field. So what we are basically doing is we are preparing this at large scale, and then we are storing this particular binder for around 24 hours. We are seeing that within 24 hours maximum of the heat is dissipating, and then we are using a rotavator and mixing it with the soil. So this heat evolution is a real challenge.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything related to leaching you expect in long term? I mean,
We have not yet tested the leaching part, but there was not much. We have not, exclusively tested the leaching part, but there was not much leaching when we have treated this black cotton soil. We have not observed much leaching, actually.
yeah. That's good. I think it's quite interesting topic. I mean, you have mixed fibers with and some form of very optimal mix with chemical. So, I mean, how about this degradation of natural fiber? Do you expect it to?
Yes, this natural fibers. So that was definitely a real challenge. But when we are treating it with this sodium hydroxide, we are, as I showed you in a process, that we are soaking it in this sodium hydroxide solution. Yeah, when we are treating it with the sodium hydroxide solution, the durability of the, although we have not exclusively conducted the durability studies and we are in the process. So the durability of these fibers, the strength of a single fiber increases extensively. But yes, it is definitely a natural fiber. So with time, after years, it is bound to degrade. That is always a challenge.
So this fiber is kind of coated, right, with the sodium hydroxide.
I didn't get it.
So is this fiber coated with sodium hydroxide?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Then I think it's yeah. I think any other discussion? I mean, from audience. So okay, if not, you can also email Professor Nuswa Guhare, and she's also my very good collaborator. We have done some collaboration on biochar and medic soils, and they can always email Professor Guhare. Actually, we have also participants not in June, but we also have participants on another software called VOV. It's a Tencent software. It's available in China. So there are a lot of Chinese students who are also taking this presentation. So for them, I mean, I just want to say if they have doubts, I mean, they can also email directly to Professor Nuswa. Okay. So with this, I would like to thank Professor Nuswa for taking wonderful time. I mean, very precious time to give presentation and on a very good topic related to, I mean, how we can think not only about fiber, but also some chemicals, how to make it more appropriate for construction. So with this, we thank Professor Nuswa for sharing her research, and we hope to see you in China, maybe somewhere in future when the pandemic is over. So yeah, with this, we'll conclude this session. Yeah, Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks all.